1 hour.
Are
And she
you-
wants
are you
it
a man?
10 times a day. I mean, Charlie.
I can't stand a man who will lift a finger on me. I can't stand it.
Hell
Like,
no. A man who is dirty is one red flag I can never let slide. What's your red flag? Welcome guys to the ListenUp podcast right here on the Independent Ghana TV. Today we are discussing red flags in relationships. Today I have my regular guests, Andy and Mandy. Welcome guys to the ListenUp podcast.
Thank you, Diane. Hey,
Thank
mommy.
you.
Mandy is looking like the Ghana flag. She just needs a green band on her head.
kidding me right
Yeah,
now?
girl.
I'm drinking.
Patriotic citizen.
Of course I am.
Great. So let's dive straight into the conversation. Red flags, red flags, red flags. Amanda, how do you understand what red flags are? Like, what is a red flag?
A red flag to me is not, is something that actually turns me off about someone. Not just turning me off, but something that won't allow me to trust you in a particular area, even as we proceed in the future. Yes. Yeah. Once I see them, they are red flags to me.
Andy, your thoughts on what red flags are?
You see, just like the traffic light, red means stop. At that point, you should see that maybe you can't proceed because if you're displaying these qualities now, and they say, why are you in there? You kill me.
Yeah.
So these are some attitudes that should not be tolerated if you don't want to do that. Someone should do that to you.
Okay, so you're saying attitudes that should not be tolerated. Generally, what do you think are some of the attitudes that guys really dislike about girls? Andy, please take it easy on Amanda, we beg you.
See, I understand that society gives the man the whole responsibility of the woman, but see, times are changing. So you have to adjust. Many men do not want a woman who is heavily dependent on them.
Needy.
I mean, every basic thing. Oh, but you're drinking a mommy's car. Oh, if you're visiting this person, what are you bringing to the table? Because see, someone can, at that point, then you begin to question, what did the man find in you to make you feel like you are?
People even
his
ask
life
questions
partner?
like, so
how can you
what do
really support-
girls really bring to the
Yes,
table in relationships?
unless you are Bill Gates. I mean, even Bill Gates, I don't think you go for a woman who would just
So
depend
dependent on him.
No.
So that's one major red flag for you.
We too, we want to be pampered. We want to be girlfriends, to be wives. You know, we see it gets to a time that then one day like the woman to surprise you, baby, you put the wallet aside. Like,
Oh,
you get me?
the bill is all on me, baby.
Yeah, one now.
No, but I beg to differ, Bill Gates.
You will beg to differ. You will beg to differ. No,
I
see,
beg to
it's-
differ.
it was
Bill
surprising
Gates-
that some rich men
Bill
also
Gates-
wouldn't want to
Yeah.
date or marry a lady who is completely dependent
Yeah,
on
'cause
them.
if
They
you
want someone
work
who's going to
hard-
bring something to the table.
If you worked hard, you don't
At least you have a
just
business
throw
or
it
something. That's okay. If I don't have, you can also bring something to the table. So I think I really agree with Andy on that particular red flag. For me, it's even a red flag for me as a lady.
Maybe I have the illusion that because the man is wealthy, he will be willing to take care of every single need of their partners.
Some
Well,
ladies
so-
are really petty. Right?
So Andy, aside the fact that you don't want a lady that would solely depend on you, what other things you really dislike when it comes to choosing a partner?
Personally, I don't want a lady who is a sex freak.
Always.
See, there's so much to do in life.
Amanda, calm down. That
At
is him.
every point, no, it's you. Nyankopon, all body, man first, fish, everything came, then he rested. You should know that you're a human being, you're not a sex machine.
So you rest.
You get me? So at a point, okay, today is Monday. Monday be a stress. It gives you a stressful week, the whole week. So when you
Amanda,
start-
chill,
no, see,
please. Andy's on the floor.
So when you start,
He doesn't
like
want
that,
a sex
you-
freak.
you
What is
should-
your problem?
And you'll be an opal, you are to work.
Dawn.
Baby. I'm
Oh my God,
thinking
quickie.
Afternoon.
Evening.
Can I come to the office? Can you see? You should rest.
Give it to me, baby.
You should
Andy
respect your
doesn't like.
responsibility.
Please.
That's for me.
Yes.
I don't know, but unless I'm able, you are willing to go. But see, I think it's the males, not everyone who really appreciates a sex free because as I say, the man is the one giving, the lady is taking.
But when it comes to sex, more men want more hard.
You know,
no,
so
see,
I'm actually surprised you're saying
So
that.
it's him. It's him. So maybe we have a few guys who.
Minutes. After 5 minutes, maybe you are son. But you see, sometimes you see it all depends on who comes first. Because most often the men come first than the ladies.
Yeah, that's true.
You can into your about your pen or assign. Unless you know how to do. But so if you have a lady who has sexual and you have to do like 1 hour.
Hey, chill.
And she wants it 10 times a day. I mean, Charlie. Nah.
Okay, so Andy, these are your two major.
Major.
Mandy, your red flags.
One of my red flags is a man who will ask me for money at the early stage. You know,
That's so major.
We are
So major.
getting to know ourselves, and there haven't been any proper commitment from both of us. And then you start asking me for money, like it's a turn off.
Yeah,
it's a huge red flag for
Aside
me.
that.
Yes, and apart from that, I think if you're a man who doesn't have a head, when I say that,
Please explain. Explain.
Yes, you should have someone in your life that talks to you. There should be somebody in your life you're accountable to. There should be somebody in your life that talks to you and you listen. Like, because if marriage is a long journey, it's mysterious, you don't know what. So if you are somebody that nobody can talk, because I believe that there will come a time that you may not listen to me when I talk. So there should be somebody who is making you listen to something, because you have to listen to somebody anyway. So you should be someone who has a head. If you don't have anybody in your life who's talking to you, then you can't be your own. You are not an island, right?
Yeah.
You can't be your own boss like that now. So if there's nobody like that in your life, for me it's a red flag.
So aside these two that you mentioned, did you have any other?
Yes, I have them. I have them listed. you shouldn't emotionally abuse me. As for physical abuse,
I will be inviting a surprise guest to give us more red flags. So you guys should just quickly say yours.
I can't stand a man who will lift a finger on me. I can't stand it.
Hell no. We aren't taking that.
It's something I won't go, because people have died. I'm sure these women would have lived a beautiful life without those men who abuse them, beat them up.
So abusive men.
Yeah, you shouldn't abuse me physically, you shouldn't abuse me
emotionally.
Yeah, and someone who patronizes me. Someone who makes me feel like I'm not intelligent.
Yeah.
You see, there are people
Tries to
you
give
meet,
reasons for everything.
Even though you think you are not intelligent, there's a way to make you feel you are the most intelligent person
that you've
in
ever
the
met,
world,
that kind of thing.
But if you're already talking down on the effort I'm already putting into my life to become a better person, then why am I going with you?
Red flag.
You're the person I'm going to live for the rest of my life with, and I can't be encouraged by you. I can't, feel safe with you. Hey, you see, when I have an idea and I talk it with my husband or my partner, and he gives me some energy, makes me feel like I have a good idea, it gives me power out there.
Yeah.
You see, so if I'm not getting that with you, then Charlie, life is going to be hell for me, and I can't entertain that.
Andy, what other red flags would you also want to pinpoint?
A woman who is insecure.
Okay.
And
okay, good one.
Never. You can't be satiated. So you always think that I'm doing something behind you, and the least I do, you never feel it's enough. The slightest thing. Serious, women who really compare some men to others.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
If you wanted that, then you should have married Abba's husband.
That's true.
Because if you wanted someone like who Abba's husband is, and you knew what you were coming into, then you knew that can you say, but actually we are struggling to do this, and you always keep comparing. Then it's a big turn. It's probably like you've initiated a nice mood, romance. Now
Just ruins the mood, like.
I mean, you see, it's bad. It's
Just ruins the
I don't
mood.
think
It just
any human
drops.
being likes being compared to, especially
But is it
in a
common with
derogatory
men
way.
to also compare their women? I mean, other women to their partners.
Some,
is it
yes.
common?
Yeah.
Is it common?
I don't know
It's
it's common, but
quite
some
common.
guys will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they'll be like,
Because
Shani,
you know,
Nick, no,
boys,
yeah.
they have the group have chats. So maybe one guy is telling his friends, "So this is what my wife does." And see, when he goes back to the house, he wants to make that comparison. So I think it's something that they usually do. So I want to still, point out some red flags that genuinely it's like a turn off. If you're a man, you have bad breath. Girl, you drive me crazy. A man should be neat. I mean, you shouldn't have anger issues. You should be emotionally there anytime I need you. Like when I'm in that period of my month of something, you should be there for me. When I'm going through stuff, like you should be there. So these are some of the things I would really look out for. And then also adding what Amanda and then Andy also said. So now let's delve into how to deal with these red flags in relationships. So like maybe you are dating a guy you love so much, like you just love him. You love him, but you realize this thing about him. How are you going to go about telling him, knowing very well that there are some people who wouldn't want to change? I don't know, how you really want to go about it, Amanda?
Okay, for me, I believe so much in, I believe that however things are, there's always room to grow, there's always room to get better if you're willing. Okay, so yes, if I have a partner who is willing to change, there are people who genuinely don't know they have this challenge and are ready to change if you are going to help them. And of course, I think a woman's role in a relationship is to we are there to, coach each other, help each other to become better. And so if you are willing to change in a certain area that is turning me off, then we can work. We can do something about it. I believe so much in sitting down, talking things out, and taking measures to get better. So if the other party is willing, we can do that. Otherwise, it's not a place to be. I can't rely on just my feelings and be with you, because it amounts to nothing. If I feel so much for you, and these things are also some of the things that will ignite whatever I feel for you. So if you are not doing it, my feelings for you is pointless. I'll let it die. I'll let it die. The feelings will die.
Yes.
The feelings will die.
Yes.
I don't know. Being willing to do something is just not enough for me. I feel like human beings, yes, we're unpredictable, but certain people are what they are.
You just won't
can't
change.
really change them. They're leopard. You can't change a sport. A cheat might always be a cheat because the opportunity came, he or she went for it. If the opportunity comes again, what will change the person? Because if it would have changed the person would have changed long time ago. So you being willing is not enough for me. I would say run, go, find someone else whose quality suits what you're looking for. There are so many fishes in the sea. You would find whatever you're looking for. It will come through. So if you wouldn't buy what I feel it really work. But just sitting down, actions for me would do. If probably don't also take what I'm saying so because situations can change. Some people you can see the effort. If there's an effort
to change,
an action, faith without works is zilch, nothing. Let there be works. If you can see that. So set traps. You see, for you to
set traps.
Set the traps. So if your partner is someone who cheats,
don't try that in your relationship. You will lose your partner, Andy.
Then you see, if you lose the person was never yours in the beginning.
And it will hurt. It will hurt.
And then when Judas betrayed Jesus, didn't Jesus get over it? He got over it.
You
will
can't tell me because
the trap. Otherwise, how will you be able to tell that this person is really over it? Set the trap. If your husband is someone who drinks alcohol, is alcoholic,
you put alcohol in the fridge?
Not in the house. Put it there. No, you see, if you don't test the person, how do you be able to? Because one an individual can prove his worth in a situation that really proves challenging. If I just
Wait,
give you,
wait,
if I just
wait,
give you,
wait.
if you just say that, oh, Mr. San, I've changed without you seeing the result, how? It's better that I put the test there. I can set someone, okay, this lady, I know that my guy is not someone you are into. Go and tempt the man. I know he likes this. He likes heavy.
Okay.
Put the temptation that if the person passes, then yes.
Okay,
But
so
if not, tempt the man. Tempt the
Andy,
woman.
Tempt
the person.
Andy, if I'm trying to get what you're trying to say, for you, if you are dating somebody and you see a red flag, you wouldn't want to pursue that relationship. You give the person time. If the person wants to change, that's fine. But if the person doesn't, you are going to just opt out of the relationship.
If you want to, I'll put the test.
Okay, great. So we are still on red flags. Forget about what Andy said. Amanda, I know you want to so much react to it. So, how about there's this. Okay, wait. I'm also thinking. How about fine? You've seen these traits in the person that you don't like, but the person has a future in terms of the other side. Why don't you rather weigh the good over the bad, looking at that particular relationship before you make your decision? Because maybe, yes, these are red flags you have seen. I know at times when you ignore red flags in relationship and it leads to marriage, it gets worse. But what if the person's good outweighs the red flags? Would you want to compromise and still try and work things out in the relationship? Or you're still going to just go out of the relationship because I can deal with this? Amanda.
So I have spoken to a married man who said, okay, when I met my wife, there were things I was looking out for in her that I didn't get, but he went ahead to marry her. You know why? It's because her goods were outweighing
her bad, yeah.
You know? So there's a place for that.
Good.
Because if we are not perfect in quote, yes, and so there are things that you can work on with time, because if you are, there's this saying that if I am chasing 1,000 with the woman involved, you chase 2,000. Like if there's something that you are not really managing well, definitely there's a life you have, there's something you are doing because you are single. But once somebody is in the picture, there's a way you now manage it and not be you are not always who you are when you finally get married. Like, I mean, you are not always who you are when you are single.
Single, yeah.
Yeah, you're not always who you are, because let's say for
a lot would
example,
have
a man
changed.
who easily hangs out with his friends like anytime, any day. They get married and they are sensible enough to know that now I have a wife, I have to be with my
wife.
I have to, you see. So I believe there's a place to allow the good to outweigh the goods about the person should allow you to still go in for them if you know that some of the things you can tolerate and some of the things that you can work on. But if you realize that your mental health cannot be guaranteed, then of course
just let go.
you have to box
Okay,
out.
great.
Yeah.
So Amanda, how do you identify red flags in your relationship?
How I identify red flags. Okay, so for example, I went to church with this guy. We started talking and he invited me to church. After church, it was an all night, so where I checked till 6 a.m. in the morning. We had to go home before he finally goes to see me off. And then we entered scattered everywhere, dates everywhere. Like that was how I identified, or I saw that this person has a red, and this person is dirty, and it was a red flag for me. So this is how I got to discover a red flag.
So does it mean you always have to follow the person to the person's house?
That is not what I'm saying. And I also don't think that there's a one way,
to identify.
medium of identifying. Yes, I think it varies. So maybe you are about to kiss somebody and realize that they have mouth. Yeah. So how you get to find out, or how you get to identify your red flags varies from one occasion to the other.
Yeah, so basically it has to do with the situation. So the situation presents itself. If it happens, then you say that, okay, this is something I don't really like. Then you find out that there's a red flag for you.
At what point in the relationship do you identify red flags? Do you think from the onset of the relationship, or well, maybe?
You see, red flags for me are not intentionally looked out for. A lot of the times, you don't intentionally look out for them. But once you start, you see, in your mind already, you are getting to know the person. You are gathering data about the person.
I see.
MBS data.
And so it comes naturally. Like, for example, it wasn't in my mind that, okay, when this person comes to visit me and they are not willing to wait for me, like, Andy calls me that he's coming to visit me. And then he comes and he's like, if you don't get here in 10 minutes, I'll go.
Is that a red flag for you?
It means you won't name me one but straight.
See, for me, that is even a red flag. A woman who doesn't respect time. It is very important. Ghana must learn from this. No, you see how she got it from the other side.
Okay.
But it's a red flag for me.
So it's a scenario I'm just, using for my argument. See, it wasn't in my mind that I'm going to observe how Andy is patient with me. But once he does that, I feel like, oh, Andy's not patient. Now this is a red flag. There's so many. Because I feel like, hey, no, you have to have patience for a woman. Like I was saying to me.
Okay, so do you think cohabiting with your partner, maybe at the boyfriend or courtship period, do you think cohabiting with a partner helps you identify red flags?
Truthfully, I'm yet to come to terms with the fact that cohabiting is good, in as much as I sincerely
it's helping your Andy, don't give her that
because in a way it makes sense to cohabit to get to
because at that point you get to stay with the person for a while.
Yes, but the other day I was saying, we trust God for jobs, we trust God for a lot of things, but it's like we are unable to trust God for partners that won't give us so much hell when we marry, partners that we don't have to cohabit with before we marry, because cohabiting is a breeding ground for premarital sex and all, like things that will and will not give the man any push to come and marry you. You see, so I'm yet to come to terms with the fact that it's something we can consider to get to know someone.
And
I definitely
also helps.
For me, it really helps. See, when you, even in secondary school, you start living with your mates to find out how people live. They tell you that so that you can appreciate people, how diverse they are and all that. At that period, even in mixed schools, well, if someone wants to get pregnant, the person will get pregnant. They are determining people. It's not the situation that would determine the end result. It's the individual and the actions. So if you are adults, in uni people live together. I had a roommate who lived with his girlfriend. The girlfriend became our fifth roommate. We lived with her, bathed with her, did everything with her. But never did I see them have sex. Whatever they want to do, kids and all that, that's up to them.
But that was still a public place.
But you see,
so
I'm saying that it's based on the individual. So if you're matured enough and you're like, this is what I'm going for, and I really want to find out this man if he is what I'm looking for. Before you go and cohabit with someone or live the person, you've definitely had years experience with the person, maybe 2-3 years. Like, okay, at this point, I want us to advance our relationship. So at that point, you know that, okay, we are looking at marriage as our end goal. This is the main deal. Can we do this now to see how we live so that we can foretell that, okay, in future, this is how we are going to live. So it's fine for me. The cohabiting is not the problem. It's the individual. So if Ubet Miasha also and be like, okay, we won't have sex, we won't do this, then that's fine. Because if at that stage, also, and you can't really hold together, then the married world you do.
With the cohabiting, there's some things that you may not also realize.
Yeah.
Or look out when you guys are apart. When you guys come together, you're like, this is something that you can't deal with in marriage.
You get maybe
so
sending
all
that.
Cohabiting, it's not
important.
like the best, but at least maybe like a week, you can just be in the person's space to know some of the 100%. Things that you can't deal with in marriage. Yeah. So now let's move on. Okay, so still with the cohabiting thing. So how about couples who are involved in a distance relationship. I mean, I have a friend who got married just like 2 weeks ago, and her boyfriend was in the US. Before the boyfriend moved to the US, they started dating, but they had not lived together. Then the boyfriend moved to the US for like a number of years, and then like finally they're married. And I mean, they look happy and everything. So if your partner is outside the country, how then do you look out for some red flags? When the person is not in your space, how do you then identify red flags like that?
For me, the difficult place to be, and it's one of the situations where red flags will be difficult to identify.
That's true.
Yes, because I remember I dated a guy in US, and for me, you see, God will not hide anything from us if we ask him. I had dreams about this guy, and I knew he was a womanizer.
Hey!
Yes.
Hey, really?
Eventually, he told me
God
that,
revealed
Amanda,
everything.
yes. Eventually, he even came to confess to me that I think you are too much of a good girl.
Aww.
I can't marry, like we can't marry, because when I marry you, I think I'll worry you. And it confirmed my dream. I was praying about him. So I think these are occasions where you should consider prayer too, because it's really difficult. Even when the person is around you.
It's even difficult to identify how much was outside the country.
No, you get.
But prayer works. Prayer works. So you should consider, praying about your partner.
Wow.
So there are things you won't know. So this is what can also substitute cohabiting. Yeah, if you are praying about
and
it.
is it possible that you can be with somebody, or you can be in a relationship with somebody and then not identify a red flag until like later when you guys are married?
Unless you go with the analogy that love is blind. Because if you're living with the person, the slightest thing, pressing the toothpaste and you don't start from the bottom, I'll notice I don't like the middle. So if I'm living with you and these basic stuff, I'll definitely notice. So unless that you had so...
But there are instances, I mean, I've heard lots of stories whereby people go like, oh, time and I champion, no one to sell, but you're worrying, no.
Well, that's
so this
true.
is like a clear example.
Yeah, I think,
I
yeah.
didn't notice
Those people, I
until
really
married.
want to experience them in a sense that, like, I really want to hear their story, because I've also heard counselors say that. So that they ask them petty questions that, didn't you see this? I saw it. Didn't you see? But you overlooked it and said,
you don't click
oh,
it.
yeah, we're not to
Yeah.
Ebiani said, you couldn't even wait for me for 10 minutes when you said you were at my gate. And I would say, I didn't know, we married, you are not patient with me.
Amanda, don't use that thing as patient.
Okay.
Because who do times, how do you use that as patient?
Okay. So,
And I'll say, I didn't know that you were not patient.
Yeah, you definitely know.
So if you observe a red flag in your partner, are you going to like call your partner like, hey babe, I see this and this about you, I don't like it, can you change it? How are you going to address that red flag?
Yeah.
And also, after addressing it, can you live with that person with that red flag?
I think you should be. See, it's adults and you know the relationship you are going into, marriage. So we should be able to sit down. If we can't sit down and talk about a challenge, then I don't know what kind of relationship we have. Then it's mediocre, because Bibi Hami and I can't tell you. So we should be able to sit down. It's really important. And it all depends on the individual you're working with. If the person is someone who is willing to change for you, puts your happiness par to theirs, then it's someone you can invest that kind of time with and be like, okay, I'll help you. Let us grow out of this. I think it also depends on the red flag. If it's abuse, if the person's a drunkard, if the person's a cheat, it all varies. So then you address it. For me, if I really go for you and I'm like, let's make this work, I'll be willing to invest, because picking you, I'd be willing to invest for us. Yeah, we have to. Maybe it might not be direct. I could leave hints somewhere. Maybe I'm not the straightforward kind of person. I can send you a mail. Maybe measuring 1 week.
You're kidding.
I tell you,
email
bloody.
to your partner?
No,
Okay,
it depends. You see.
Mandy, your thoughts on
could.
this? Do you think that okay, you've seen this red flag, babe, we need to have a conversation. I've seen this list. I don't like it.
Yeah, for me, I think we should always talk, because communication is the backbone of every successful relationship. And so I believe so much. Like, I love to sit and talk about things that are not going well. Like, I always want somebody who would, like, I think there's a problem. Let's sit down and talk about it. You are willing for us to talk about it. I really like that. And so, yes, I'll sit with you. I'll talk about it with you. We'll discuss it. And if, see, the discussion, the outcome of our discussion will tell if we can make a headway or not. And so we'll take it from there.
So after the discussion, are you willing to, okay, I want to help you? Like this person who is dirty. I mean, there's some people who would always get to their room and then throw their shirt somewhere.
And you see, there are
but are you willing as a partner to be like, babe, I want to help you to overcome this thing I call a red flag, so then we can have a fruitful relationship? Are you willing to do that, Amanda?
If I am a woman and I'm not willing to help my man, then what's
What kind
the
of woman
point?
are you?
Oh my
So I'm
That's
willing
it.
to help. Come on, I'm willing to help.
Andy,
But
see,
are you willing to
Yeah,
help your
yes, see,
partner?
I will
Or
help
you.
you.
Will just, I can't
Oh,
deal
no,
with
no,
this,
no,
I'm
no.
out.
See, once I'm there for you, would be there. But I would make sure that you really get over this. I would put the stamping block there. Sintigiano. I'll put a temptation there to find out whether
You look like one person who is not
no,
patient.
see, no.
See,
Life is
you
what?
have to
Life
check
is what?
her
We don't
career.
have time. We are like flower. We blossom, then vanish. Boom. So we have to make good use of the little time we have. If there's the problem, you're a cheat. I would find what attracts you to the problem. So if you like a guy who's masculine, I would
all of
look.
them from the earth.
Oh, find. Believe me, you.
do that after a conversation.
No, of course, after the conversation, it happens after the conversation. So then I won't let you know that this is what I'm going to do. But I'll put the problem there before you, like a normal situation, to find out how you react to it, because I don't want it to be something I'm not known to. Then it hits me. That's the worst thing that can happen to you. Put your trust in someone and the person breaks it. So I'll put the issue there for you. Then I would test you to see the outcome. If you're willing, then we work.
Andy the tester.
So, as in, you always letting the good outweigh the bad. For me, you can't get, if you're in such situation, how do you know whether it can be better? Because if you are like, okay, we are not perfect, but he does so much good, so I can let the bad slide. It could probably, he or she could work on the bad and become a better person. So,
Better being bad.
or becoming a good person. So, yes, before you outweigh the bad and good, check if, as a person, if I was in this situation, can I work on this? Because, I mean, if you are in a relationship with someone, you really love the person, you don't want the person to be in pain. So if this is hurting me and I let you know, and you be like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, bloody, God forgive me. But what do you mean this is who you are? You came, you were trained, you were nurtured, you grow. You metamorphosize into something else. So with a different situation, you can change and become a better person. We can always strive to become better. So do not outweigh the good, bad. Let the person become the best version of him or herself. He or she can become the best version.
Okay, great. So you just heard from Andy and Maggie. So Andy is of the opinion that don't outweigh the good, just flee from the relationship. Red flags are things you don't have to joke about in relationships, because when it gets to marriage, you can't do nothing about it. So if you are out there in a bad situation, in a relationship, and your partner, you've seen stuff with your partner that you think you can't take into marriage, please don't compromise. Leave the relationship. This has been the ListenUp podcast right on the Independent Ghana TV. I have been your girl, Miss D. Thank you, Andy and Mandy, for making this episode an exciting and interactive one. Kindly follow us on all our social media handles